Let me introduce some basic definitions that we're going to need for our model of the market. So X di of P is basically consumer's I demand at price P. This is the object, the demand function that we learned how to compute in Unit 2. Now I'm going to define capital X as opposed to lowercase D of P is going to be the total market demand at price P. And this is going to be equal to the sum over all consumers of their individual demands at that price. Now, the definition is straightforward. One thing that is very useful is the concept of, to know how to compute it, is the concept of horizontal demand. Horizontal demand. And the idea goes as follows, is that suppose that we have a bunch of consumers, let's say consumer 1, consumer 2, up to consumer capital C, and we want to construct the aggregate demand. Okay? So this is the total for the market. Remember that we have been represented the demand curves by flipping the axis with P in the vertical axis and the quantity demanded X on the horizontal axis. Suppose that we have demands, let's say, that look like this for the different consumers. And how do we construct the aggregate demand curve? What we do is we go for every price, through every price. Let's say, let's start with this one over here. So we go at that price, and we add what is the demand for every consumer. In this particular case is 0, so we know that the demand at that point is there. We do it for the next price, let's say here. What do we see? That the demand was this much plus this much. Let's say for the sake of example 1 and 2. Then the next point there has to be 3. We add them horizontally. Let's say that we are here at this price. Let's say that the quantity here was 50, 50, and 50. We do it again for every individual. Then we will have something like 150 here. When we're done to every price, we can trace a locus that gives us the aggregate demand of the market. And let's think about the economic interpretation of what this means. It tells us at any price what is the total amount that consumers want to buy. The individual demands were given us at any price. What is the amount that each consumer wants to buy? The market demand gives us the total amount that consumers want to buy. Let's do a concrete example to practice how to compute the aggregate demand function. Look at a simple market in which there are 4 consumers that have the individual demand functions given by those 4 equations. And let's ask what is the aggregate demand for the market. So we can do this again using our notion of horizontal demand. Let's draw, of horizontal addition of demands. Let's draw the 4 consumers that we're going to add, and let's add the market demand. Okay, so we're going to add these 4 individual demands. Now, how do the individual demands look like? It should be easy to see with P on the y-axis that the one for consumer 1 intersects at 100 and 100. The one for consumer 2 intersects at 75, 75. The one for consumer 3 intersects at 50, 50. And the last one intersects at 25, 25. Given this, what do we see? When we are above a price of 100, so at 100 or higher, nobody demands anything. So the aggregate demand is 0. Between a price of 175, the only person that demands anything is consumer 1. So in this region, between 100 and 75, the demand is equal to the demand of the fair consumer, which is 100 minus P. Between 70 and 50, both consumer 1 and 2 demand. So aggregate demand is going to be the sum of both of their demands. So between 75 and 50 is going to be given by 175 minus 2P. If we continue with this logic, between 50 and 25, all of these 3 are going to be kicking in, and we're going to get something that keeps flattening with an equation of 225 minus 3P. And eventually, for the final part, we're going to get 250 minus 4P. By the way, this keeps getting flatter and flatter.